You know, life has this strange way of convincing us that the storm we're standing in will last forever. When the pressure is heavy, when the noise in your head is too loud, and when the plan you trusted starts falling apart, your mind begins whispering, "What if this is it? What if I don't make it out?" But then there's that still, quiet voice that says, "Don't worry, you've passed. The battle is already won." That single truth changes everything. When you really let that sink in, your entire mindset shifts from panic to peace, from striving to trusting. You begin to realize that you're not out here fighting for your life alone, trying to force things to happen. You're walking through something that's already been conquered. God didn't promise that you wouldn't face battles. He promised that the outcome is already settled in your favor. When you understand that, you stop living in survival mode. You stop waking up every day bracing for what might go wrong, and instead start walking with quiet confidence, knowing that what's meant for you cannot be taken away. The storms you face are not indicators of defeat. They are opportunities for you to witness the victory that's already been written. So many times we look at life through the wrong lens. We see every problem as a threat, every delay as punishment, every rejection as proof that we're not good enough. But when you remember that the battle is already won, you see it differently. That rejection wasn't the end, it was redirection. That loss wasn't failure, it was clearing space for something greater. That silence from God wasn't abandonment, it was protection. You're not losing, you're learning. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. And because the battle is already won, you can face what's in front of you without fear. You can walk into rooms you once felt unqualified for. You can handle setbacks with calm assurance, because deep down, you know no matter how uncertain things feel, God has already gone ahead of you and made a way. It's like watching a movie when you already know how it ends. Even when the characters are in trouble, you don't panic because you know the ending is already written. That's how your life is. You might be in a tough scene right now, one that feels overwhelming, unpredictable, and painful. But you're not stuck in defeat. You're in the middle of victory unfolding. The ending has already been decided. You win. The hardest part is believing that when you can't see it yet. When you're in the thick of it, when you're tired, confused, and it feels like everything is falling apart, that's when the voice of doubt starts getting louder. It says, if the battle's already won, then why does it still hurt? Why is this taking so long? Why am I still waiting? But the truth is, victory doesn't always show up the way you expect. Sometimes winning doesn't look like getting everything you prayed for. It looks like keeping your peace in the middle of chaos. Sometimes it looks like not giving up when everything in you wants to quit. The battle is already won because the outcome isn't about what happens to you, it's about what happens in you. When you start to trust that, you stop fighting the wrong fight. You stop trying to control every detail and instead focus on controlling your response. You stop arguing with life and you start aligning with it. You understand that everything that's happening is part of a plan that leads to your growth, not your destruction. Think about the times you were certain you couldn't make it through something, those dark nights. Those moments when you felt broken, uncertain, or lost. Somehow you did make it through. Somehow doors opened, strength appeared, peace returned. That wasn't luck. That was proof that God was already working things out before you even knew there was a problem. He was fighting for you and you didn't have the strength to fight for yourself. That's why you can stop carrying the weight of trying to figure everything out. You don't have to fix what's beyond your control. You don't have to have every answer. You just need to stay grounded in the truth that no matter what's happening, the story ends in your favor. It always has. When you walk with that kind of faith, your energy changes. You move differently. You stop reacting out of fear and start responding out of trust. You stop chasing validation and start walking in purpose. Because when you know the battle is already won, you don't need to prove yourself. You just need to keep showing up. Sometimes the reason God doesn't remove the battle is because He wants you to realize your strength through it. He wants you to see that you are more capable, more resilient, and more powerful than you ever believed. If He fixed everything instantly, you'd never know how much endurance and faith you really have. The struggle isn't evidence that He's forgotten you, it's proof that has preparing you for more. The key is not to let your circumstances convince you that you're losing. The enemy's greatest tactic isn't destruction, it's distraction. If he can make you doubt your victory, he can make you live beneath it. But when you remember that the battle is already won, you stop letting fear dictate your decisions. You start walking like someone who already knows how this ends. And here's the thing: you can't lose a battle that God's already claimed victory over. You can only delay it by letting fear, doubt, or worry cloud your focus. So instead of asking, when will this be over? Start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Because every challenge you face is strengthening the foundation for what's coming next. There's power in perspective. The moment you stop seeing your situation as a threat and start seeing it as part of the victory process, everything changes. You don't panic when something doesn't go your way, because you know that what's meant for you can't miss you. You don't crumble under pressure, because you understand pressure produces growth. You don't fear the unknown, because you know who's already. Their God is. Every step you take in faith, even when you can't see the result, is a declaration that you believe the battle is already won. Every time you choose peace over panic, gratitude over bitterness, and hope over fear, you're walking in victory. You're proving that you understand the deeper truth that what looks like a fight is actually a fulfillment of a promise that's already yours. So, take a moment and breathe. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're not forgotten. You're in the middle of something that's already been decided in your favor. The battle you're fighting has already been won. All that's left is for you to live like it. Worry and faith can't coexist. They are two opposing forces pulling your heart in completely different directions. One keeps you trapped in fear, replaying every worst-case scenario in your mind. The other anchors you in peace, reminding you that even if you can't see the outcome, you can trust the one who holds it. You can't hold on to both at the same time. You either feed your worry or feed your faith, but never both. Worry is the mind's attempt to take control of what only God can handle. It's the illusion that if you think about it long enough, if you plan every possible outcome, somehow you'll prevent something bad from happening. But worry doesn't prevent tomorrow's problems. It only robs you of today's peace. It drains your energy, clouds your vision, and convinces you that you're powerless. Faith, on the other hand, does the opposite. Faith reminds you that even when everything seems uncertain, you are not alone. Faith whispers, you don't need to know how, it's already taken care of. You see, faith doesn't make life easier, it makes it clearer. It shifts your focus from fear to trust. It doesn't erase your challenges, but it gives you the strength to walk through them without losing your peace. The problem is, most of us live in between. We pray with faith, but live with worry. We say we trust God, but then we spend all night trying to figure out what He has already promised to handle. That tug of war is exhausting. You can't live fully in faith while constantly feeding worry with your thoughts. Worry thrives in the space where faith is silent. It sneaks in when you stop believing that things can work out. It grows when you focus on what's missing instead of what's already in motion. And before you know it, worry becomes your default language. You start saying things like, what if I can't? Or what if it all falls apart? But faith speaks a different language. Faith says, even if I don't know how, I know who. Faith says, even if this isn't what I planned, it's still working for my good. The moment you choose to believe that, everything changes. You stop letting fear have the loudest voice in your life. You start showing up differently, calmer, stronger, more grounded, because worry thrives in chaos, but faith creates clarity. You can't worry and trust at the same time. One will silence the other. Every time you choose faith, you are telling your worry, you don't control me anymore. That's not denial, it's discipline. Faith is not pretending you don't have problems, it's choosing not to let them consume you. It's saying, I know the situation looks impossible, but I also know that God has never failed me before. Worry shows up when you think it's all on you. Faith steps in when you realize it never was. When you start to believe that you are held, guided, and supported even when you don't see evidence of it you. Stop panicking about what could go wrong. You start trusting that even if things don't go the way you planned, they're still going the way they're supposed to. Think about the last time you were truly worried. Your mind was probably racing, your heart pounding, your focus scattered. That's what worry does. It disconnects you from peace. But when you lean into faith, your perspective shifts. The situation might not change immediately, but you do. You start breathing differently. You start thinking differently. Because faith reminds you that everything has a purpose, even the things that don't make sense yet. Worry is fueled by the need for control. Faith is built on surrender. And surrender isn't giving up, it's giving over. It's saying, I'm done trying to carry what was never mine to carry. When you do that, you make room for miracles. Because as long as your hands are full of worry, they're too full to receive peace. You can't pray for peace while constantly feeding fear. You can't ask for strength while rehearsing everything that could go wrong. You can't say, I trust God, while spending every waking moment trying to outthink Him. At some point, you have to decide which one will lead you, worry or faith. Faith doesn't mean you'll never feel afraid again. It means you'll stop letting fear make your decisions. It means you'll still move forward, even when your knees are shaking. You'll still believe there's purpose, even when you don't understand the plan. Because faith doesn't require you to see the whole picture. It only asks you to take the next step. Worry keeps you stuck in the same place, looping through the same fears. Faith moves you forward. Worry says, what if it all goes wrong? Faith says, what if it all goes right? Worry imagines the worst possible outcome. Faith expects the best one. And what you focus on expands. If you feed fear, it grows. If you feed faith, it strengthens. The truth is, you will always have reasons to worry. Life will always give you uncertainty, delays, and moments that don't make sense. But you also always have the choice to trust. Every time something doesn't go your way, that's your opportunity to practice faith, to remind yourself that God's plan is bigger than your perspective. That even if it doesn't happen how you hoped, it's still happening how it's meant to. You can't control every outcome, but you can control what you believe about it. You can decide whether you're going to spiral in fear or stand in faith. You can decide whether you're going to let anxiety win or let peace lead. And the moment you choose faith, worry loses its power. It's not a one-time decision either. It's a daily choice. Every morning when you wake up, your mind will try to worry. It'll remind you of everything that's uncertain, everything that could fall apart. But that's the moment you remind yourself, I'm not carrying this alone. I don't have to have all the answers. I just need to trust the one who does. Worry is loud, but faith is steady. Worry shouts, what if? Faith whispers, even if. Worry tries to convince you that your future is fragile. Faith reminds you that your future is already secure. The more you practice faith, the quieter worry becomes, because faith doesn't need proof, it just needs trust. So whenever your mind starts spinning and your heart starts racing, pause, take a breath, remind yourself that both worry and faith are fighting for space in your heart, but only one can win. You can't live in peace while entertaining fear. You can't claim faith and cling to control. Let one go so the other can grow. Choose faith every single time, because worry and faith can't coexist. Pressure builds purpose. It's a truth that's easy to accept when life is calm, but almost impossible to believe when you're in the middle of the storm. When the weight feels unbearable, when the plan is falling apart, when you feel stretched beyond what you can handle, it's hard to see anything good coming from it. But pressure isn't punishment, it's preparation. Every challenge, every delay, every uncomfortable moment is shaping you for something greater than you can see right now. Pressure is the tool God uses to reveal strength you didn't know you had. You don't discover how resilient you are when everything is easy. You discover it when life feels heavy. You find out what's inside you when you're pressed beyond your limits. Diamonds are formed under pressure, not comfort. Seeds grow when they're buried, not when they're exposed to light. The same principle applies to you. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens in seasons that test your patience, faith, and courage. When you're under pressure, it's tempting to think something is wrong, that maybe you took the wrong path, made the wrong choice, or missed a sign. But what if the pressure isn't a sign that you're off track, but proof that you're right where you need to be? Growth feels like breaking before it feels like becoming. You can't expand without tension. You can't rise without resistance. We often pray for purpose, but then resist the process that builds it. We ask for strength, and then ask God to remove everything that requires us to be strong. We want faith, but we don't want to go through anything that requires us to actually use it. The truth is, purpose is not built in peaceful season sits forged in fire. It's refined in the moments when you're forced to trust beyond your understanding. Pressure doesn't come to destroy you, it comes to develop you. Think about a muscle. It only grows when it's challenged, when it's pushed past its current capacity. Without resistance, it stays weak. The same is true for your spirit. Without challenges, you would never stretch beyond your comfort zone. Without struggle, you'd never realize how capable you really are. Every pressure point in your life is an invitation to rise higher. When you're in those moments of intense pressure, it's easy to feel like you're losing control. Everything inside you wants to escape it, to find relief, to go back to how things used to be. But if you rush the process, you miss the purpose. Pressure is not meant to break you, it's meant to mold you. If you let it, it will teach you patience, humility, and strength. If you resist it, it will only feel heavier. Think of how nature works. A caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly without the struggle of the cocoon. That struggle is what gives its wings strength. If someone tries to help it by breaking the cocoon early, the butterfly never learns how to fly. The pressure of pushing through is what makes it capable of soaring. The same goes for you. The struggle is strengthening you for the space you're meant to occupy next. You might not see it now, but there's purpose in your pressure. The situations that make you feel most uncomfortable are the ones pushing you toward transformation. The deadlines, the disappointments, the delays, all of it is refining your character and your faith. God doesn't waste pain. Every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of uncertainty is part of the story that will one day make sense. Pressure has a way of stripping away what's unnecessary. It exposes what's weak and reveals what's strong. It forces you to let go of what no longer serves you, old habits, limiting beliefs, unhealthy attachments. It teaches you to depend less on what's temporary and more on what's eternal. Under pressure, you stop pretending and start becoming. You stop running from who you are and start stepping into who you were meant to be. The moments when you feel most overwhelmed are often the moments that prepare you for breakthrough. When everything feels like it's closing in, that's usually the sign that something new is about to begin. Just like before dawn, the sky gets darkest right before the sun rises. Your pressure might just be the evidence that your purpose is about to emerge. Don't mistake pressure for punishment. It's not God being cruel, it's God being intentional. He's not trying to break you down, He's trying to build you up. Sometimes He allows pressure because it's the only thing that gets your attention. When life is easy, we get complacent. We settle, we stop reaching, but pressure shakes you awake. It forces you to grow, to change, to lean on faith when logic fails. When you're under pressure, you have two choices. You can crumble or you can be transformed. You can complain about what's heavy or you can let it make you stronger. Every person who's achieved something meaningful has gone through moments where they wanted to give up, but they didn't. They kept going even when it hurt, even when it didn't make sense. They let the pressure shape them instead of letting it stop them. Your purpose is too big to come easy. It requires endurance, patience, and perseverance. Pressure is part of the process that ensures you can handle the weight of what you're asking for. Because if you received your purpose without preparation, it would crush you. The pressure is God's way of strengthening your foundation before He expands your platform. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this trying to teach me? There's always a lesson hidden in the load. Maybe it's teaching you to trust, to surrender, to prioritize, to let go, or to stand firm. Every ounce of pressure is shaping you into the person you need to become to carry what's coming next. Remember, the higher the purpose, the greater the pressure. Mountains aren't climbed without strain. Gold isn't purified without fire. And destiny isn't fulfilled without trials. The process might hurt, but the outcome will be worth it. You're being stretched, not to break, but to build capacity for the life you've been praying for. One day, you'll look back on this season and realize it was never meant to destroy you. It was preparing you. The nights you cried, the moments you doubted, the seasons you questioned it was all building the strength, wisdom, and faith you needed for your next chapter. Pressure builds purpose, and the fact that you're feeling it means you're on the edge of something powerful. Keep going. The weight you're carrying today is producing the strength you'll need tomorrow. You're walking from victory, not toward it. That truth alone can shift the way you see every challenge, every setback, every delay in your life. You're not trying to earn victory. You're walking in what's already been won for you. The finish line has already been crossed. You're simply living out the journey toward realizing it. When you understand that, fear loses its grip. You stop striving to prove yourself, and you start walking with confidence, knowing that everything you're moving through has already been overcome. So many people live like they're constantly trying to reach victory, trying to be enough, to fix everything, to make life work out. But that's the exhausting trap of striving. You keep pushing, trying to control outcomes, measuring yourself against impossible standards. You think if you just do more, pray harder, or perform better, maybe then you'll finally reach peace. But you don't have to reach it, it's already yours. You've already been equipped with everything you need. The victory isn't something waiting on the other side of your effort, it's something that's already been placed within you. When you're walking from victory, you move differently. You don't panic when things don't go according to plan. You don't collapse under pressure. You understand that setbacks are part of the story, not the end of it. You see challenges as confirmations, not contradictions. You stop asking, what if I lose? And start reminding yourself, I've already won. It's a mindset of faith, a deep, unshakable, knowing that no matter how things look, the outcome is already secure. Walking from victory means living with assurance rather than anxiety. It's knowing that what's meant for you can't miss you. It's understanding that even in the waiting, things are unfolding exactly as they're supposed to. You're not walking into uncertainty or walking through fulfillment. The path may twist and turn, but it still leads to the same destination, your purpose. There's power in perspective. When you believe you're walking toward victory, every obstacle feels like a threat. Every delay feels like defeat. But when you believe you're walking from victory, those same obstacles become opportunities to prove what's already true. The difference isn't in what happens, it's in how you see it. One mindset focuses on earning favor. The other rests in knowing you already have it. Think about a runner who knows the race has already been won. They don't panic when they stumble. They just get up and keep moving. They don't compete with the people beside them. They stay focused on their lane. That's how you have to live unshaken, unbothered, and unstoppable. You're not competing for victory. You're confirming it. But it takes faith to live that way, because life doesn't always look like victory. Sometimes it looks like loss. It looks like delay, heartbreak, confusion, and silence. And that's where most people start doubting. They say, if victory is already mine, why does it hurt? Why does it feel like I'm losing? But that's because victory isn't the absence of struggle, it's the assurance of overcoming. It's not that the fire won't come, it's that you'll come out of it refined, not ruined. Every battle you face has already been factored into the plan. Every difficulty has already been accounted for. You're not surprising God with your struggle. He saw it before you did, and He still declared victory over your life. That means even when you feel behind, you're right on time. Even when it looks like everything is falling apart, something deeper is being built. You're not walking toward victory or walking from it, which means even your setbacks are steps forward. When you truly understand that, your posture changes. You stop moving from desperation and start moving from assurance. You stop trying to prove your worth and start living from your identity. You stop begging for what you already have and start walking in gratitude for what's already been done. You move from striving to surrender, from fear to faith, from exhaustion to expectancy. You can feel peace even in chaos, because your peace doesn't depend on circumstances, it's rooted in truth. You can forgive what hurt you because you know it didn't take anything from you that wasn't meant to go. You can release control because you trust that the path is already paved, even if you can't see the next step. Walking from victory also means you stop defining success by outcomes. You realize that even when life doesn't go the way you planned, you're still moving in purpose. The blessing isn't in everything going perfectly, it's in becoming who you were meant to be through it all. Every disappointment becomes direction. Every detour becomes divine redirection. Every no becomes protection for what's truly yours. You see, if you believe you're walking toward victory, you'll live like everything depends on you. You'll carry unnecessary stress, fear, and pressure. But when you know you're walking from victory, you start resting in grace instead of grinding in worry. You realize that your job is obedience, not control. You just need to keep showing up, keep believing, keep doing the next right thing. The outcome is already guaranteed. And maybe right now it doesn't feel like victory. Maybe you're tired, uncertain, or overwhelmed. Maybe you're questioning whether things will ever work out. But that's exactly when you need to remind yourself. Victory doesn't always look like winning. It looks like enduring. It looks like choosing peace when fear is screaming. It looks like getting back up when you fall. It looks like trusting that the unseen is working for you, even when everything visible seems to be falling apart. The victory was never about a moment, it was about a mindset. It's about walking with quiet confidence, knowing that even if the path gets rough, you're still on track. It's about believing that every delay still leads to destiny. It's about living from the truth that no battle